Greetings and welcome to another SunWest Professional Development presentation. My name is Shirley Barkley, and today I will be discussing how you can enhance your language arts program using word walls and Pwim. As we explore word walls, I will start off by giving you a bit of an overview. Then we will discuss the benefits, tips for use, some daily activities and strategies, and the use of portable word walls in your classroom. Looking at Pwim, Picture Word Inductive Model, I will start off by giving you an overview of how it works. We will talk about advantages, the steps in its use, how to get started, and I will show you some examples. Word walls are an organized collection of words that are prominently displayed in the classroom. They are also an interactive tool for teaching reading and spelling to children and come in many different types, including high-frequency words, word families, names, alphabet, and themes, which could be seasonal or used in the content areas. Word walls teach children to recognize and spell high-frequency words. It allows them to see patterns and relationships. It builds their phonemic awareness skills, helps them to apply phonics rules, and helps them to recognize content area words. There are many benefits to having a word wall in your classroom. Word walls support the teaching of important general principles about words and how they work. They foster reading and writing, build vocabulary, and take away the permission to forget. Word walls can be used to promote independence on the part of young students as they work with words in writing and reading. It is also a wonderful visual tool for older students, giving them access to content area words. Having the words displayed in the classroom provides the children with a visual map to help them remember the connections between words and the characteristics that will help them form categories. As words are being constantly added to the word wall, it is developing a growing core of words that will become part of the children's reading and writing vocabulary and be a wonderful reference tool for them. The next few slides talk about tips for using a word wall. First of all, you should make sure that the words are easily accessible by putting them where every student can see them. They should be written in large black letters using a variety of background colors to distinguish easily confused words. For young students, having the shape of the word provides another visual connection. As a teacher, you should be selective about the words that you put on the word wall. You should try to include words that children would use most commonly in their writing. The words should be added quite gradually. Generally, the guideline is about 5 words per week. Lots of opportunities should be given daily to practice the word wall words. Activities include chanting, snapping, cheering, clapping, tracing, word guessing games, as well as the opportunities to write them. Children should be provided with enough practice so that the words are read and spelled automatically. You should make sure that the word wall words are always spelled correctly in the children's daily writing. A word wall takes away that permission to forget. During this webinar, I will be sharing a number of strategies that you can use to help you get the most out of your word wall. By looking at the pictures provided, you will see that word walls can be both cross-curricular and interactive. If you look at the picture at the top, you can see that each of the words for the different content areas is a different color. In the interactive picture at the bottom of the page, you will see that the words are there and the children can come and take them back to their desks and then replace them when they're finished. Colorful word walls are very attractive in your classroom. As you can see at the bottom of the page, they can be very subject-specific or thematic. You might want to consider having a seasonal word wall to help the children with spelling of seasonal words. If classroom space is limited, you could also have a portable word wall. The use of word walls is only limited by the creativity of the teacher. In the example shown here, you would use clothespins to pin index cards on the word wall. The students would then take the card off and look on the back of it for the definition. This would be great for content area words in the upper grades. As mentioned earlier, daily interaction with the word wall is very important. The next few slides will provide you with strategies that you can use for that daily interaction. It is important in the younger grades that the students do the clapping and chanting of the words and letters in words. It helps them to remember. It will depend on your students as to when this is no longer necessary. For clap, chant, and write, what the students do is write the numbers from 1 to 5 on a piece of paper. You call out the 5 word wall words and put them in a sentence. When all 5 words have been written, point to the words and have the students clap and chant the spelling of the words as they correct their own papers. For the reviewing rhymes strategy, you would once again have the students number their paper from 1 to 5 and write the word that rhymes with the word that you give. You would give them clues. The example shown here says that number 1 would be a word that starts with T and rhymes with walk. Number 2 begins with B and rhymes with my. To check their papers, you say the rhyming word and let the students say the word that they wrote, and chant, if necessary, its spelling. In review endings, you call out the usual 5 daily words, but add endings onto some of them. You would begin with just one ending at first, probably an S. Then do another ending, such as ing or ed. You would only do words with spelling changes after you've taught that rule. The students would then spell and chant the words for you. As the year progresses, you are adding more and more words to your word wall. This would provide you with the opportunity to dictate entire sentences that are made up of word wall words. You could also use this opportunity to practice punctuation with your students. Students love the activity, Be a Mind Reader. The teacher thinks of a word wall word and gives 5 clues to that word. The students number their paper from 1 to 5 and try to read the teacher's mind. By the time you have given the 5th clue, everyone in the class should have been able to guess your word and have it written down on their papers. Here are the steps for Be a Mind Reader. The first clue is always the same. It's one of the word wall words. The students then write a guess beside number 1 on their paper. The next clue might be something like, it has 4 letters. The students then write another guess beside number 2. The third clue could be, it begins with TH. The students then again write another guess beside number 3. The fourth clue could be, its vowel is an E. The students write a guess beside number 4. The fifth and final clue would be, it finishes the sentence, I gave my books to. The students write a guess beside number 5. Then you would check and chant the correct word and ask the students for a show of hands as to who had the word by 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. In ruler tap, the teacher says a word wall word and then taps out several letters in that word without saying the letters. When the tapping stops, the teacher calls upon a child to finish spelling the word out loud. If the child correctly finishes spelling that word, that child gets to call out the next word and tap some of its letters. Word-O is a version of bingo that is played with word wall words. Students need a sheet of paper that has 9, 16, or 25 blank blocks on it, and some small pieces of paper or objects to cover the words as they fill in those blocks. Various Word-O sheets have been included as part of the handout package. To play Word-O, you would call on students to pick words from the word wall that they want to have included in the game. As each student picks a word, everyone writes it in a blank spot of their choice on their game board. The teacher writes the word on an index card. Once all of the spots are filled in on the Word-O cards, you shuffle your index cards and begin to call out words. The students are to cover the words on their cards wherever they have them written. The first student to have a complete row covered or a blackout is the winner. You might consider letting that person be the next word caller for the next game. A variation that would work well with older students is that the teacher would give the definitions of the words instead of just the words. In reading bingo, students fill in a bingo card with new words for a unit. As the students complete the unit's reading, they fill in the page numbers where the unit's words appear. You should acknowledge the first person who gets a straight line completed and then sign the completion of the entire grid for everyone in the class. A variation might be to have the students skim the text to find the words listed on their card. I have included 2 bingo cards with 25 and 9 spaces in the handout package. You could also use Wordo cards for this activity. Word sorts are another way of having students interact with your word wall. Have them write 10 to 15 word wall words on small slips of paper, and then sort the words into different piles depending on the features that the words share. They might want to sort for the number of letters, the beginning or ending sound, a certain vowel, a certain letter anywhere in the word, semantic features such as names or actions. The teacher could give the groups, and the students could give the sorting criteria, or vice versa. Guess the covered word is another favorite activity that we've used in our classrooms. The purpose is to practice cross-checking meaning with letter sound information. The teacher writes 4 to 5 sentences on the board, sentence strips, the overhead, or your smart board. Then you would cover a word in each sentence with 2 sticky notes, one covering the onset and the other covering the rhyme. Next, you would call upon a student to read the first sentence. The students would make several guesses for the covered word while the teacher records them. Take off the sticky note that is covering the onset. Any guesses that don't begin with that onset are erased, and any new guesses can be added. Finally, you would reveal the word when all of the guesses which fit both the meaning and the onset are written. Build, Mix, Fix is a manipulative activity. The teacher calls out 5 words from the word wall, one at a time. The students write the words on the paper as the teacher records them on the board. The teacher then directs the class to build the first word with letter tiles or cards that they have at their desks. After the students have built the word, the teacher asks them to mix up their letters. Then the students are directed to fix the word by arranging the letters to spell the word once again. You would continue in the same method with the remaining words. Students love to do and create word searches. Give each student a word search worksheet. Choose 5 or possibly more words from the word wall. Call out the words and have the students write them at the bottom of their worksheet. Then have the students place each word in the word search puzzle and add additional letters to fill in the boxes. In the end, the students would trade word search puzzles and complete. As part of the handout package, I have included 3 variations of the word search worksheet, one with 100 squares, 64, and 49. They are in words so that they are easily adaptable to suit your needs. Making words is an activity that will have students interact with letters and words. It assists in developing spelling and word decoding skills and is engaging like a puzzle. This is the procedure that you would follow. First, you would choose letters that are found in word wall words. The students would print the letters at the bottom of the Making Words graphic organizer that is found on the next slide and is part of the handout package. Have the students cut out the letters and arrange the letters to form words. Then they would print the words on the chart. As you can see, this graphic organizer could be used over and over again in your classroom. With it, the children are challenged to build words of 2 to 5 or more letters. While you are working with guided reading groups in your classroom, you could have other students working at a word fun center. Choose 5 words from the word wall and write them on the board or the smart board. Then provide different materials for the children to spell the words with. Examples would be letter tiles, stencils, Play-Doh, magnetic letters, pastel letters, wiki sticks, alphabet stamps, or painted lima beans. Developing a word ad is a great activity for older students. Divide your class into groups and have each group choose a word and brainstorm all of the possible uses of that word. They would then create a radio or television ad to sell the word and present it to the class. A variation on this might be to have the students think of a product for which they can create a radio advertisement, using as many words as possible from the word wall. The group avoids making direct reference to the product and asks the class to guess what it is that the ad is trying to sell. This activity is very much like the word sort activity that I talked about earlier. Students create categories and group the words from the word wall to fit into those categories. You should set the number of words that can be allowed in the miscellaneous category and create a minimum and maximum number of categories that can be used. This could be done individually at first, and then the students could share and compare their categories with a partner. Later on, they could share their groups of words with the class, who would have to guess the principle behind the sorting. Contextualization would be a great way to have students interact with the content area word wall. Students write about a situation in which a word wall word would be commonly used. The student reads the situation to the class, who then guess the relevant word. A variation would be to have students write multiple contextual situations for words with different meanings. The example would be brackets, which is something that could be spoken about both in writing and in the context of construction. This graphic organizer is a great way to have your students interacting with the word wall. Choose 6 words from the word wall and have the students record them on their graphic organizer. Then have them use 2 of the words in a sentence. Lastly, they would illustrate the sentence. The graphic organizer is included as part of the handout package. This word wall game is also part of the handout package. There is a second page on which the students record the words that they find according to the roll of the die. You might want to try attaching keywords with Velcro strips or sticky tack. Or you could also try putting pockets under your word wall at the children's eye level. Then you would place copies of the keywords in the pockets. Both of these techniques allow the students to go to the word wall, remove the word, use it at their desks, and then return it for others to use. You might want to consider having the students record the number of times they use the word wall words in their writing. This could be done by having sticky notes on the words for the children to check, or by putting stickers on the words themselves. The strategy of text talk is a variation of this and is included as part of the handout package. Children love to play Hangman and Wheel of Fortune, as they do Jeopardy! Hink Pinks is another thing that's included in the handout package, and it is just involving riddles with rhyming pairs. Sometimes the lack of wall space creates a bit of a problem. There are many ways to get around this. You could use 3-panel display boards or foam display boards. These freestanding materials don't require any wall space and can be easily moved around or placed on tables for easy visibility. The advantage here is that you can fold down one word wall and put up another when a new group of students arrives or for different seasons or subjects. Easy storage is a plus as well. With this type of word wall, the students take the ring of cards back to their desks and then return it when they're finished. I would suggest that you put each subject's vocabulary words on a different color of index card to make the words easy for the children to find. An advantage here is that this could be used year after year. Portable word walls are a great alternative. They are wonderful if you have limited wall space and are perfect for students who are on the move. They are available commercially at places like Teacher's Trunk, or you could even make your own. If you decide to make your own word walls, you can make them as plain or as fancy as you choose. Let the students get involved and show their creativity as well. This is an example of one of the many portable word walls that's available. This particular one includes the Dolch words, Fountas and Pinnell high-frequency words, and the first 100 Sitten high-frequency words. It is included as part of the handout package. This particular idea is great for students who are on the move. To make the word wall list stand out, provide each of the students with the organizational handout and have them glued onto a piece of 3-holed construction paper. The construction paper fits into the binder, but it sticks out a little more than regular paper, thus making the word wall list easily accessible. The organizational handout is part of the handout package. Pinterest is a great place to find teaching ideas. I found this particular site there. If you're interested in finding different themes of portable word walls, you'll find them on Teachers Pay Teachers for the affordable price of $2 to $3. Here are some other examples of portable word walls in which the students borrow the word wall books and then return them when they're done. Word wall assessment opportunities would include such things as word wall reading, a portfolio of work to show the progress through the year, assessment rubrics, the children's spelling, your anecdotal records, and observations by the teacher. Here is a list of online resources to find these and many other word wall activities. Pat Cunningham has authored many books that you might find useful. The next portion of this presentation is about Pwim, Picture Word Inductive Model. Pwim was developed by Emily Calhoun in 1998. It uses pictures containing familiar objects, actions, and scenes to draw out words from the children's listening and speaking vocabularies. It helps students to add words to their sight reading vocabulary as well as their writing vocabulary. It also helps them to discover phonetic and structural principles present in words. As a plus, it develops their critical thinking and observation skills. It can be used after reading a book, when beginning a new science or social studies unit, or when learning a new concept in math. Here's how it works. The words are shaken out or listed around the picture by the students. Shaking out refers to identifying objects, actions, or qualities. The words are then listed around the picture in a web-like fashion. Next, the words are placed on word cards. The words are categorized and read and reread as a class over a few days. The students are given their own set of word cards. The individual set of word cards assists the students in writing and reading sentences using those words. Depending on the grade level of the students, the sentences are categorized and formed into paragraphs. The students then write the paragraphs. The strength of using this strategy from kindergarten to grade 6 is that it will help build students' vocabulary and writing abilities. There are many advantages of using Pwim in your classroom. It emphasizes phonics, grammar, mechanics, and usage of standard English. The pictures provide concrete reference for the learning of new words, phrases, and sentences. The picture word chart serves as an immediate reference to enable students to add these words to their sight vocabulary. The teacher can choose to emphasize almost any sound and symbol relationship. The students can see the patterns and relationships of the English language and apply this new learning to newly encountered words. With Pwim, students hear and see words spelled correctly and then have the opportunity to participate in the correct spelling and writing of words. Learners benefit from the teacher modeling of the key words and concepts. With practice, students can begin to learn how to create sentences and paragraphs related to a subject under study. Perhaps the biggest advantage of Pwim is that of the role of the teacher. In a deductive classroom, the teacher conducts lessons by introducing and explaining concepts to students, and then expecting the students to complete tasks to practice the concepts. This approach is very teacher-centered. Pwim is a more inductive type of instruction and thus more student-centered. The students are the ones that take the stage. They are encouraged to be the critical thinkers, and they are often working collaboratively as a class community. Pwim can be used with the whole class, small groups, pairs, or even individually. It leads students into inquiry about words and thus helps them to add them to their vocabularies. It helps them discover phonetic and structural principles, and it also engages them in meaningful reading and writing activities. Here are the steps in Pwim. First of all, you select a picture. Then you ask the students to identify what they see in the picture. You label the parts that are identified. You draw a line from the identified object or area, have the students say the word, then you write the word, ask the students to spell the word out loud, and then to pronounce it. Next, you would read and review the picture word chart that you've developed out loud. Ask the students to read the words, using the lines in the chart if necessary, and to classify the words into a variety of groups. Finally, you would identify the common objects, such as the beginning consonant sounds or rhyming words, to emphasize with the whole class. The next step would be to read and review the picture word chart. Have the students say the words, spell the words, and then say the words again. New words would be added to the word chart and to the word banks if necessary. Then you would lead the students into creating a title for the picture word chart. Ask them to think about what the information is that's on the chart and what they want to say about it. Depending on the age of the students, you would ask them to generate one or more sentences, or possibly even a paragraph about the picture word chart. The students would then classify the sentences, and you would model by putting the sentences into a good paragraph. Finally, you would read and review the sentences and the paragraphs with the children. Let's get started with Pwim. The picture word chart is the basic material for the Pwim lessons and units. It comprises of the picture and the words that are identified or shaken out of the picture by the students. The chart that you developed is then used throughout the sequence of lessons and is a source of curriculum content. As the teacher writes the words on the paper surrounding the picture, the chart becomes an illustrated dictionary. The illustrated dictionary that you and your students create will support language use by the class as a group and as individuals. It needs to be posted where the students can use it to support their reading, their writing, and their independence as learners. Using the chart to help them pronounce words encourages the children to notice and comment on spelling and phonetic structure. Until the words are part of the student's sight vocabulary, they are anchored by the representations on the picture word chart. The next few slides show some Pwim picture word charts. Pwim has a lot of potential for our EAL learners. The discussion of words and concepts certainly helps to support English language development. The pictures for Pwim could be taken from a variety of different locations. As you can see, this one looks like it may have even come from a story. Pwim can be used in any subject area. It is only limited by the pictures that you can find. As you can see, it can be done seasonally as well. A bit of a twist on Pwim is the strategy of Image of the Week. In this strategy, you post an interesting image weekly somewhere in your classroom. The students are then invited to react to the image by recording their observations, their wonders and questions, and their opinions. The postings that they make help to lead your class discussions. This is included as part of the handout package. The first website shown here has lots of Pwim ideas and strategies that you might find useful. The second one gives you access to Calhoun's book that she wrote in 1998. Pearl Trees is another place that you can find some great teaching ideas. You can either access it through the website or through the QR reader on your phone. Besides this recorded webinar, you can also access the same information on either the Reading Strategies Wiki or the ELA Wiki. If you go to the Reading Strategies Wiki, just click on the picture on the home page to take you to the Reading Strategies categories. You will find this presentation at the bottom of the page. On the ELA Wiki, from the home page, you click on the Reading Strategies link and scroll down to the bottom. Thank you so much for viewing this webinar. Good luck with your use of interactive word walls and with Pwim. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me.